But it's also important to understand that God has shown his love to his people not because they are lovely. God does not love us because we are lovely, okay? And we see there's 4 very, very important words here in this text. And what I'm trying to do is to take some time to park here, because a goal of preaching should not be for you to listen to me and to go home and say, oh, yeah, okay. It should be for you to go home and read and study. So I'm just trying to walk through this text so we can get how you walk through a passage of Scripture so that you can study it and be equipped on your own. So there's 4 very important words in this text that describes the state that every person is in outside of Jesus Christ. So if you are believing in Jesus today, remember that this was you. And that's the primary audience he's talking to here in this, are those he's pointing back to who you were before you knew Jesus. But if you don't know Jesus here today, this is you right now. And he uses these 4 words to describe the people that he has revealed and shown his love to. The first, in verse 6, it says, For while we were still weak. The people that God sent his son to die for are people that are weak. That word literally means sick, impotent, feeble, without strength. So, imagine that the military is going to enlist soldiers. One of the soldiers they're going to look at is say, I want the one that's weak, right? That's not how you would do it. That's not how you would go. But God shows his love and enlists those soldiers in his army of people that are utterly weak, without strength. This past week, I know many of you know my grandfather, who's very, very close to me, very close to him. Grew up with him until I was about 12 years old, is very sick. He's diagnosed with cancer. But anyways, he's been at the hospital, and we're just looking forward to hopefully he could get home and, we could deal with it and however long we have. But because of the medicine this week, they didn't realize that he had ulcers inside of him, and the medicine caused the ulcers to start bleeding, and he started bleeding out, and we didn't know what was causing it. But on Tuesday, I went up there to see him, and he was literally laying there, unresponsive, feeble, weak. And as I was studying for this text, it reminded me of that. It's like, that's us spiritually speaking. And it's heartbreaking to look at it, Like, there's nothing he can do. That's the description here of us outside of Christ. We are weak, feeble, without strength. So that's the first word we have to describe us outside of Jesus. The first word to describe the people that Jesus died for. The second are those that are ungodly. Verse 6, For while we were still weak at the right time, Christ died for the ungodly. This word means destitute of reverential awe towards God. Completely destitute of it. Or simply put, an ungodly person is someone that hates God and operates without God in their life. That's who Jesus died for. The third word used to describe those that Jesus died for, we read in verse 8, are people that are sinners. But God shows his love for us, and while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. That word is in the active sense. It's not saying that you have sinned or you're people that have committed sin. No, it's saying presently, currently, people that are living in sin. That's a better way to understand it. And the word literally means people that are devoted to sin, people that are not free from sin. That's who God showed his love toward. That's who Jesus died for. Weak, ungodly, sinners, who are also, we see in verse 10, the fourth word here, who were his enemies. Let's read verse 10. For if while we were enemies, we were reconciled to God by the death of his Son, much more, now that we are reconciled, shall we be saved by his life. Not only were we weak or without strength, not only were we ungodly, destitute of any reverential awe towards God, not only were we actively living in sin, but we were actually enemies of God. Hostile, hating, opposing God. That is who God sent his Son to die for, are people like that. And that's where I said, I don't know, man. I think I should just keep reading this text over and over again because I hope you don't lose sight of how amazing this is. Right? That's who he died for.